Hello. Nice to be with you. And if I seem a bit disconcerted for two reasons. One, I'm on the gram. You know, I don't contribute much. I'm not used to seeing this bloke with his shirt on.
I know.
Braith.
It's summer, Dan. I was going to wear
Thank you for wearing a shirt.
I didn't think you'd go down too well, you know, so I whacked it on. And I went with the collar as well.
But it must feel constricting to have clothes on at this time of year.
At the moment. Very claustrophobic.
And you're the host extraordinaire here at Fox. What the hell are you doing in that chair?
Mate, you've taken my gig. I was there last week, but obviously I didn't do a good enough job. So they've brought the big guns in. Dan the man, eh?
But
the crowd wanted you.
Don't understand. You're a very good host, and that's a great skill to have. But you're in the best seat in the house. All care, no responsibility. Why the hell do you want to be a host for?
The pressure is on you, and I'm feeling good about it. Very relaxed. Very relaxed.
Excellent.
But I need to have an opinion now. More of an opinion.
Okay. I don't think you've got a problem having opinions, Braith.
You said it, not me.
How's your summer been?
Very good. Very good. Plenty of time with the kids, which is good for me, because during the year, it's hard. I don't get much time with them. So, school holidays, although I'm looking forward to them going back. Actually, it's my little one's Gigi's birthday today. She turned 8, so happy birthday, darling. But yeah, it's been really good. A couple of little holidays. Went to Bali as my usual. You know that.
I know.
What about you, mate?
I go to America. My America, or your Bali is my America. I go to America once a year, but you went to Bali, and we'll get to footy, I promise. I know it's a podcast, people. Relax. And season preview day today. That's how close we're getting. 16 days until the first game. I'm actually excited for footy.
So am I. Vegas is around the corner.
I know Vegas is around the corner.
We've
got our vegetables first. We've got to do the trials. But, you know, I like doing the trials because it gets us, you know, match fit.
Where were you going? You were talking about something else then.
I know, I forgot.
You forgot.
It's a podcast. That's the beautiful thing about a podcast. We're talking about your personal life.
I'm glad you got distracted.
Turned 8. Oh, no, our holidays. Yeah, you went to Bali twice.
Yeah. One training trip and then one holiday.
Wow.
You know, two different things. Trained in Uluwatu for a week, a few cocktails, nice dinners and with a few of my mates, and then went to Bali with the kids.
The sigh just says everything, but that's okay. Hey, it's all good. All right, let's talk footy.
Let's get into it.
Let's talk footy. So news today. Now, we're recording on a Wednesday morning. Angus Crichton, I don't think this is a great surprise, Braith.
No.
Signs with Rugby Australia. Rugby background, World Cup around the corner, and probably, frankly, a good time for the Roosters and he to part ways. He's been fantastic since he's come back. But he's 29 now and... you know, they've got out, obviously, the Roosters. Not that it was their choice, but he's still in his prime.
Well, the one thing with the Roosters, you don't know if it's their choice or not, right? Well, we don't from the outside looking in because, you know, they do things a little differently. They're pretty ruthless, but when they want someone, they usually get them. But this isn't a surprise, Dan, because unlike others, he's got a rugby union background. You know, went to Scots College, played elite rugby union through the grades, and then... went to South, and then the rest is history. He's been really good for the Roosters. You know, he's had a few lapses over the last few years where you thought maybe it was coming to an end in terms of his playing career at the Roosters, but then he just tended to find form and play some really good rugby league. So, there's been rumours about this for a couple of years now. 2027 World Cup, we're hearing. It's either a 1 or 2 year deal. You know, a couple of publications have got it at 1, the other at 2, so we're not sure. But
end of the year, so 1 more year at Roosters.
Yeah, 1 more year at Roosters, then he'll go on and play you would think the World Cup. Just with Rugby Australia, the contract. You know, it is interesting. I mean, they're two entirely different codes. I've played them both at a high level. So, you know, although he's played it at a young age, to just kind of go and play a World Cup and step straight into an Australian team and think that he's going to be, you know, elite and at the very height of rugby union. He's also a bit of the unknown. But you know, he's had a great time at the Roosters, and it's a.
I think it's one of the great comebacks, really, from where he was 3 years ago, where the stuff we were hearing, you would have heard a lot more than me, and he's openly spoken about it and challenges mentally. Pretty phenomenal. That season he had. Not in 24, in 24. Yeah. One of probably his best ever season. Yeah. And he, you know, he had some damn good seasons before he went off the rails.
Origin, he's been great for New South Wales. And you're right, where he was and where he is now is a credit to him. And a lot of players go through some tough times, and athletes and just people in general. And we all talk about mental health and all that. And he was in a dark place. And to go from there to back to elite level and play the way that he has, and now have the opportunity to play for Australia in the World Cup is massive.
I'm looking here, Braith, while you're talking. So there's a reason I'm looking at my phone.
Instagram or?
No.
I was going to say something else. But...
You got your shirt on. And I'm looking, the player we don't hear much about regards to this, Cam Murray. Yeah. I would have thought there would have been and I think there has been a massive offer in the past to get Cam Murray over. He, like Angus Crichton, rugby school, but South Sydney have him. He signed till 2028, so he's not going to be part of the World Cup. But are we expecting the Wanganita-Waze? He's off back to rugby.
Yeah, Japan.
But that's as a pit stop on the way to the World Cup. Yeah. I guess we're at that time right now. If Rugby World Cup's in 2027, these players have to commit now. We expecting any more?
No, I don't see it as a threat at all. Because not only are these guys going only a year in advance, there's a reason for that too, is because they're ex-rugby union players. So they can pick up the skill. They've played it before at a high level. So, you can't just go and take any rugby league player and think they're going to play for Australia within 12 months. It's not going to happen. Yeah. So they've obviously gone for guys that have been there, done that aren't going to take as much learnings and knowledge to get to know the rules. But there's that many rules in rugby union. It's not that simple. So I don't see it as a threat at all. Time's run out. They've made this call early on both these players because they will be great additions for Australian rugby union. But I can't see, if anyone goes, it may be one or two, but I can't see it happening.
Now, you said something there that I'd forgotten, that you played rugby. How far did you get? I mean, let's take modesty away here. How high did we get here?
Well, I got to the point where I was in the Australian Schoolboys League team, and I was about to make the Rugby Union Schoolboys team, but the coach rang me and said, kind of, what path are you going to take? And I said, I'm going to go with the league, so don't pick me, kind of thing. So I loved rugby union, loved playing it, didn't enjoy
Fly half?
Fly half, 5'8", went all through the grades, Randwick and New South Wales and all that sort of stuff. And I nearly went there. When I went to the Roosters, I nearly went to the Waratahs at that point, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, Ewan McKenzie was the coach, and I met with him a few times. But
so this is around the time Joey was sort of...
Yeah, pretty similar. It was around just that? After.
Right.
Just after, yeah. And I genuinely took it very serious and considered it for sure.
Was the money... Don't give me details, but was it better? Was it even? Was it worse?
To give people an idea with how this works is if you're not, a lot of it's based on how many games you play for Australia. So if you're going to sort of turn your back on security, good money in the NRL to go, say, play for the Waratahs, Brumbies, whoever it is, it's a lot of it's incentive based. If you don't play for Australia, the money's not very good. It's nowhere near what it would be here in the NRL. But if you play for your country, then the money's better. And then you obviously open the doors, because you play European, France, Japan, you can go over there and earn big money as well. But I wasn't looking at that. But that's another option. But unless you play for your country in Australia, it's chalk and cheese.
So hang on, when was this?
I've got the worst memory.
07, 08?
Yeah, 05.
So are we still end of George Gregan? So
that era was over.
Sterling Mortlock had gone by then.
Coming to that, it was that period.
And I think Australia rugby was just on we'd made the 03 World Cup final, bad 07.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was kind of a little bit of a spiral, and again, because they knew, the head of rugby union knew that I played the game all throughout my till I was 17, 18. It's an easier transition, so I was probably more appealing than just plucking someone who'd never played it before. But that's why I'm telling you. Now, Wanganita-Waze and Crichton, to them it's appealing because they don't need as much work, and they're elite players, elite athletes who know the game back to front.
I hope we get Wanganita-Waze back.
We need him back.
How good was he?
Entertainment plus. I mean, he's... he kind of reminded me a little bit at the start like Sean Kenny-Dow, because at the start he had those amazing moments, but he had the howlers.
Yeah.
But then he kind of, those howlers, and like Sean Kenny-Dow as well, as they play more games, he had less howlers, got to know the game better, and he had even bigger moments. I'd love to see him back in the game.
Because Crichton, he's 29 now. He'll be 32 by the time, 31, 32.
I think he's
Probably done.
rugby union
He's
or
put his
nothing.
body through a lot. If he came back for 1 or 2, but Nwanganita will still be in his prime.
We could see him again for sure. Who knows what happens at the World Cup? But I suppose a lot would depend on that. If they have success, he may stay in rugby. You know, if they don't, he could be straight back.
Right, there's this Zack Lomax story. I can't believe how it's bonded the rugby league community on Parramatta's side.
Yeah.
Parramatta has taken a stance, and a lot of this has been played out in the media, so we've got to take it on trust. But what we do know, Zac wanted to go to R360. Parramatta let him out early, and obviously R360 fell over, at least for now. Zac wants to come back. Melbourne have said we're sniffing. Parramatta have said give us 1 of 3 players. Again, this is the part where it gets speculative, but give us 1 of 3 players. Utoi Kamanu, he'd be fabulous at Parramatta, by the way. Started there.
Yeah. But as if they're doing that.
Hey, I understand. Yeah. Coates, they're not giving up Coates.
No chance.
Or Howarth, which is the one you'd say, well, okay, all right, that's sort of like for like. I mean, he's not as good as Lomax.
But Dan, why do the NRL need to get involved here? You know, Zac turned his back on the game, right?
That's right.
He said, see you later, knowing there was going to be a ban, you know, knowing how strict Volandis was on the decision to turn your back on our game and go to 360. Knowing that he was walking out on a contract and letting down a team and a club and their fans as one of their best players on a long-term deal, why should Parramatta not have the power to make whatever decision they want right now?
Absolutely. It's their right. So Melbourne apparently have offered no player but $200K compensation.
$200,000?
But that doesn't improve a salary. $200,000 is nothing. And it's not like that is now included in Parramatta's salary cap. And 200 is pissy anyway. Yeah. But even it doesn't get counted. It's not like now they can spend 200,000 more than the rest of the competition. So now, I mean, so they've clearly lowballed, hoping to meet it sounds like to meet somewhere in the middle. They don't want to give up a player. And the NRL says we're going to step in. I don't know what the solution is. Well, I mean, the solution is Parramatta are right. We all agree Parramatta's right here.
Yeah, but you know, you kind of, you know, you dig your own hole. You know, like I said on the last podcast, I love Zac. I get along with him really well. I call it how I see it, though. We all make decisions in our life, in our sporting careers as professional athletes. We know have repercussions. Like that is what we do. And you know, he made one of the biggest calls. You know, he made one of the biggest calls ever in our game, really, and it blew up in his face. So just because he's a great player, right? Do we just welcome him back in because, you know, I get the image and what he brings to our game and the excitement that he brings and all that, but you know, it's Parramatta have the power for good reason. They deserve the power, and it's up to them now. The NRL don't really need to get involved here. Like, it's as simple as this: Melbourne, give us the player we want.
Yeah, it's Parramatta's
one of the players we want.
Parramatta's right.
He's not playing.
It is telling though that he asked and Parramatta straight away said, "Yep, you can go." That's a bad sign. That's the second club now that have basically let him go.
That was a surprise, Dan, because I was obviously involved a little bit to a degree with Jonah, knowing the situation there, and I was like, why would you let him go in the first place? They didn't have to.
Yeah.
Such a high-quality player takes up a lot of your cap, but really, I'd say he's worth every cent, if not probably more, right, yeah. Zac, for what he brings to a team.
Yeah.
So for them to sort of surrender and not really put up much of a fight when he did sort of turn his back on them was an eye-opener.
Parramatta, would they still have room? I'm looking here, Gaines, your man Jonah, Brian Kelly, Jack DeBellin. I mean, they've lost Dylan Brown and Lomax. So
you do a lot of notes, don't you?
So have to.
You're killing trees here, mate.
Have to.
Can't even get there.
It sounds like the point is they've got room in the cap. If they really wanted Zac back,
it's not about that.
And that's so. I'm playing devil's advocate here because I'm on Parramatta's side. I've dropped my microphone.
You're on fire.
It's a podcast.
Too worried about
this is why you need to host.
You're too worried about your nose.
This is why you need to host everything. Get a bit of professionalism here. So does the NRL have the right, devil's advocate, because I don't believe this, to say, well, you have the room, take him back. If you don't want to take him back, you've got to let him go somewhere else.
That's where it's at. You playing devil's advocate, but you're right. This is where we can all let emotions get the better of us, and everyone clearly knows where I stand on this from what I've just said. But there are always two sides of the story, and we're talking about human beings, right? So they're probably thinking, welfare of the player. He has a right to come back. Yes, he's stuffed up. He's probably gone to them and admitted he's stuffed up. Melbourne's, putting their case forward, and they're trying to come in with that sort of approach, right? And that's where the NRL have gone, well, you know what, he sells tickets, he sells subscriptions, why wouldn't we want the best of the best? He's made his mistake. He hasn't actually played for 360 because it hasn't eventuated. So that's on the flip side, right? That's where...
It is funny, we go from 10-year bans to, we're now going to be a broker to get you back in based on... nothing that Lomax did. It was the competition falling over.
And we still know that probably, well, we don't know because 360, we're not sure where the hell they're at. But he could end up there in a couple of years anyway. So why would you let him have a kind of free pass back and then all of a sudden he goes, oh, thanks guys, I'm going again.
It's funny how we change, how things change. Like the most heinous thing ever done was Sonny Bill, what he did. But he wasn't allowed to play for 5 years after that. Now, it suited him fine. He was off, winning everything for New Zealand and Super Rugby. But he didn't come back to the Roosters until a long, long, long time after. So if I remember correctly, Sonny Bill, he left, he walked out, Toulon. Choc Mundine actually, I think, paid, it was like $750,000 because Sonny Bill didn't have the money at the time, paid it to the Bulldogs to pay them off. But the deal was Sonny couldn't come back to the NRL for 5 years. Now Zac is trying to... Anyway.
But Melbourne, just like off the back, so Melbourne, why would they let go of Utoi Kamanu, Howarth and Coates? Like, if you want to break it down, they need Utoi Kamanu, right? That's where they were short. They got him last year. If they're going to have no Katoa... they can't, they've lost Nelson to boxing. They cannot lose any more forwards. They're already short in that department. So he's a zero chance, not even a 0.1%. Howarth, Coates, you look at Coates, right? Now, if you look at Melbourne the last 2 years, they've made the grand final, but when they get, and they'll continue to make the finals this year, but when they get the big games, their lack of creativity on the edges hurts them, and their only option is the kick to Coates. So they're not going to lose him. And then Howarth's the only one that is a consideration. And Parra could use him as a back rower, centre, whatever they want to do there. But Howarth is the only one that would be of consideration of Melbourne, I believe, to let go. But then is it worth Parramatta losing Zac and getting a Howarth? I don't know. But that would be the only possibility if there was a player swap.
If you gave Parramatta the free choice... Who do you think they take? I think it's Utoi Kamanu.
Yeah, Utoi Kamanu.
Because they need... DeBellin, obviously, I think he'll have a good year, actually, but he's near the end. Barlow has been magnificent, but he's near the end.
Yep.
And you can never have too many front rows.
Nah, definitely. So, and they got the money to do that.
Yeah. All right. By the way, did you see the Nelson fight?
Yeah, I did. Poor Jeremy, he's still asleep.
How do I put this? I'm not saying Nelson's a great boxer. He's not yet, right? And
scary, though.
Braith, it was Mike Tyson stuff in anticipation, the way they brought him out with the guitar guy and then...
The muzzle.
He was like Andre the Giant coming out in the Silverdome. And then you knew... Here's what we knew. We don't know what the hell's about to happen, but it's going to be quick and it could be really nasty.
Powerful.
And that uppercut is... Once he learns a bit of technique and gets a bit of ring craft and gets some ring stamina, he actually could be a bit scary.
Yeah. Well, I spotted this talent a few years ago.
Did you?
In Bali, actually.
Oh,
you know how I go to Bali? I was there. I was there that night.
How is it, Braith, you find yourself in the middle of all these things? Wasn't there some incident at Coogee and there was a robbery or something and you found yourself there, you were the saviour?
When was this? I mean, I don't even know. I can't even remember.
There's so many incidents you're part of.
Yeah, I've been involved in a bit.
So were you actually there?
I was there and saw it all happen and I actually stuck up for them because the other guys started it, and I saw Nelson defend himself and the rest of the boys, and I was on a holiday. I was there with him having a drink. I saw him copping flack back here, and I'm like, no, that's not how it went down. So I went into bat for them. But mate, even that night, it's ferocious, mate. Ferocious. His arms are so long, and he's so tall. He's so powerful. Like you're spot on. He's only going to get better. Not that we're boxing experts, but he's only going to get better.
Yeah.
Lattimore, like that was a fair one to the chin, eh? You wouldn't like to go.
And I don't think he connected properly.
No, I think
that is such a violent uppercut that he throws.
Do we see him again, do you think?
Lattimore?
Yeah.
I think Jeremy...
Him and Zarafa never again?
What about that? What about that?
Oh, let's not go on.
Did you, as soon as that camera's in Zarafa's face and he said, I can't see it, you're going, oh...
You knew it.
You knew what he was doing.
Before the fourth round.
Should we do some previews?
Let's do it.
Let's do previews. 16 days until the first trial. Feb 7, live here on Fox, all of them, and on Kayo.
Yep.
Broncos.
Yep.
I am fascinated to see what they deliver next year or this year. Because you forget, Braith, they only just snuck into the top 4. And they had to come back from double digits in every final. They can't repeat that avenue again, right? There's no way. But I'm just wondering now they've got the monkey off the back.
Yeah.
Now they've got Reece Walsh playing lights out, and he was great in the test matches too. Is this a year they dominate? Is this a year they can just come out and actually be like the 90s Broncos that would just put the cleaners through teams?
Well, it wouldn't surprise us if they did, right? They've got the players. They've only lost Hetherington and Smoothie. They've got some really young guns there, right? They, in key positions, Carrigan, Haas and Ezra Mam, Reece Walsh. We saw those two in the grand final. It was spectacular. They've still got the experience of Reynolds and Hunt. And they've got speed and athleticism on their edges. And, they really should dominate this year. It's hard to say dominate when you've got teams like, Penrith but really looking at their roster and the way they did perform in the back end of the season, they're going to be there. There's no doubt about that. The only real concern would be the hangover after a grand final, because every player talks about it who's been in a grand final, won a grand final. It's just that 1 or 2% of desire that you haven't won a premiership. You want to win that premiership. Do you have that the next year after you do? Now, you look at Penrith and their dynasty. That's why that's been so amazing, because what they've been able to do and lift every year and continue to do so. In Melbourne, they're similar. So a lot will come down to the inner sanctum. It will come down to Michael Maguire, how he coaches them, how he gets them back up after that premiership win. The systems they've got in place, do they hold up year after year after year, or did they just have a golden run to win a premiership?
Yeah.
That will all be told and seen this year.
When did you won one comp?
Yep.
And Dogs are terrible the next year.
Next year we were, but we got a lot of injuries, mind you. We had half our team go down, so a lot was probably because of that. I would think. We'd been on a high for a while, making finals, but I wouldn't say it was a premiership hangover. We were decimated, but. I'm trying to think of other teams, but it's hard because Penrith have been so good.
Well, Penrith last year, it was the start of the season that got them, right? But often, it's the back half for a defending premier. They often come out firing. I don't know whether it's the glow of the premiership, the aura. But then, don't forget, Brisbane's got to go to England.
Yep.
That used to be a real problem for teams. Where they would do the World Club Challenge and then come back. Season only gets longer. 6 of their first 7 are in southeast Queensland, 5 at Suncorp, 1 at Seabus. But in saying that, now, yes, okay, they get their breaks, but because they're the biggest television team, they also get one of the hardest draws. They get Melbourne twice, they get Penrith twice, they get Roosters twice, they get Canterbury twice. That's the price of being the Broncos.
You know what? Speed. Like youth, enthusiasm, but genuine speed and X factor is what the Brisbane Broncos have. The modern game with how quick it is and the ruck speed and it's even getting quicker, right? Volandis is trying to get the rule changes suggest that. So, you've got these lethal players. Like, you just got to take yourself back to the grand final. Ezra Mam off the bench and Reece Walsh. And then, you said it, he had a great series with the Australian team as well, Reece. How can they not be there and how can they not be favourites with those guys who are only going to get better? They're kids. they have the best ahead of them, you know, and they've been through some turmoil. Even last year, you know, they were looking terrible after the first couple of months of the year. So they've got through that. So that if they, you know, they're confident guys, but they know now what they can achieve and what they can do.
That's a top 3 list?
Definitely.
Top 3. What they do with it is up to them and the hangover.
With all due respect, losing Hetherington and Smoothie, that's not
well,
good.
they actually get in Grant Anderson, who probably won't fit into their, I doubt fits into their 17. I mean, Billy Walters is out early part of the season. Maybe they have him as a utility, but, you know, you've got the 3 quarters of Karapani, Shibasaki, Staggs, Mariner. So it's... Well, they've got depth. They've actually
he wouldn't start the year unless there's an injury. I think.
And you got Tom Duffy. They've bought from the Cowboys. Pretty good talent. It's interesting. Kobe Black went to Canberra. Tom Duffy comes in. Yeah. So anyway, that's the Broncos. Dogs. Last year, 16-8.
Yep.
3rd straight sets. Haven't won a final since 2015. So really, we're not going to judge the Dogs again until September. They're one of those teams where we expect, I expect them, again, they're too disciplined, their system is too tight, they're going to win plenty of games.
Definitely. I still see the Bulldogs on the right track, you know, they had the hiccups of last season and, you know, with the changing in key positions, and we're not sure if it unsettled them or not. We're not sure if it impacted the back end of the year or not. We'll never know because, unfortunately, they weren't as good at the back end as they were to start or mid-season. But, you know, also fatigue and, you know, and all that. Now, the Dogs will improve again. They're just getting better and better. Every year they'll get better. Leo Thompson, a great addition because they lack a bit of punch and forwards, which we can probably get to. But, the big one that, you know, let's be honest, is the halves. Like, they come into this season now still with a huge question mark over who plays 6 and 7. Like, that's the reality. I think it's even a question mark over them. You know, they're unsure. You got Mitch Woods waiting in the wings. Is Galvin a 7 or not? You know, they keep Burton at 6. Yeah, this is all going to unfold again. So this story is going to be big like it was last year. It's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere.
And the first month of the year, whether Bulldogs fans like it or not, and I'm one of them, even though they don't think I am because I'm a realist, it's going to be...
They think you're a Rooster, Braith.
Well, then the Roosters think I'm a Bulldog. You can't please everyone. But what I'll say is that whether you like it or not, the first month is going to be high pressure. The first 8 weeks... And all eyes will be on Galvin, all eyes will be on Burton, all eyes will be on that combination. Mitch Woods coming through, what do they do with him? And then it'll be on, okay, they're either going to go great, and if they do go great, they can win a comp.
Yeah.
Or they're going to be having to change it all around again, and there's going to be pressure on Serrato, there's going to be pressure on Gould, and who knows? But that's the reality. There's a couple of scenarios there that's going to play out, and it is... You know, get the popcorn out for the first couple of months of this year.
The beauty of doing the trials on TV is people get to look at these kids. It'd be fascinating. Mitchell Woods has a blinder in one of these trials.
He's a genuine 7. He's a genuine
Well, the
7.
only question seems to be, Braith, when will he be ready for first? Is he ready now? Does he need another year?
20?
I think 19, 20.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it changes, right? Like, you know... Yeah, I was playing at that age and I thought I was ready, so I don't know.
I felt for Galvin in this regard. Now, he made his own bed and the people that looked after him made their own bed. Yeah. And they got out of the Tigers and they kicked stones and they threatened legal action and they got to the Bulldogs and there was something about the smell of the whole thing. But he got thrown straight in. Is one off season enough?
Yeah.
Because it felt like with Galvin, Braith, he was searching for, almost trying to find out who he was in this team.
He still is.
Which is there was a run where he had 3 games, 3 in a row, and he had a total of 5 runs. And then they played Melbourne, and he had 16 runs in one game. Yeah. It's like he's trying to figure out how he fits into this pretty good system.
And you know what? He will figure it out sooner or later, and he'll be a great player for a long time. Like, that's never been the question mark over Galvin. It's just, you know... you mentioned it, the way it all unfolded was not great, not a great look, right? But we've all moved on from that. So that's put to bed this year, which is great. For him and everyone involved, that's gone. Now it's all about a full pre-season at 7. We're all hearing he's training the house down. He's one of the fittest guys in the competition. And there's no question mark over his ability, his fitness, but again, is he a 5'8" or is he a 7? Can he make that 7 his own? Can he run a football team? Does he know where to get to the right spots on the field to execute the right plays to therefore bring the best out of the players around him? His kicking game, his short kicking game, I think is really good. Can he get his long kicking game right? Yes, they do have Burton, but do they need to rely on Burton? There's a lot that even as far as you go to Connor Tracy, who was magnificent the first half, 3 quarters of the year because he had a genuine 7 and he played the best footy of his career. As soon as then the mix-up was on, he lost his way, and then they're thinking, who are we going to put it for? So there's a bit of a domino effect from making such a big call that a lot of people just underestimated, in key positions. And I think it impacted the majority of the squad. Now they've had a full pre-season, Dan, going back to what you said. I think he'll be a lot better for it, and I think it can work. It's just we're going to find out.
I reckon they made a calculated gamble, because it was round 14 that Galvin made his debut. They probably thought, there's going to be bumps along the way, but you know what? 3 months is enough time, and they never worked it out.
Yeah.
All right, there's no order for this, by the way. I'm just going by what producer Mitch and producer Mick have put up. By the way, Dogs, Gaines, Leo Thompson, Sean O'Sullivan, Kay Dykes. Hope it happens for Kay Dykes. That poor bugger.
Knee reconstructions there.
Losses, Reed Marnie. So Bailey Haywood we expect to be 9.
Yep.
Drew Hutchison, Toby Sexton, the big one. Blake Taff, Blake Wilson off to Manly. Curtis Moran, I think, is off to the Gold Coast. Yep. Right. This team's going to have plenty of heat on them. They usually get a lot of attention. Your beloved Sydney Roosters.
Back to back, Bulldogs, Roosters.
Just
Buzz would have liked this one, actually.
DCE, I'm looking at this list. If they click, it's an awesome list. But I am noticing a lot of experts. It's the fashionable tip.
It is
to tip them for the comp.
It always is.
Geez, that's a big jump because
for the comp,
they've only made one top 4 in the last 4 years. They always play finals, but it's not as if they've really threatened to win a comp for a little while. So it would be quite the jump. And I'm looking at this best 17.
Again, you got 1,000 sheets.
It's a damn. It's there you go. You take it.
This bloke.
I
love the preparation. All this work you've done, it's unheard of, Randy.
You're always fascinated by that, aren't you? Remember at Magic Round? Remember we were there, you and Cooper are having a conversation and I'm working away and you're just looking at me the whole time like, can you get a life, you
That's
dickhead?
why you're the host. I admire you.
All right, go on.
All right, where were
Roosters. Roosters.
Yeah, so this is big. This really is big. I can't understand. Do I think they can win a comp? Yes, right? I wouldn't be tipping them, right? So because of the unknowns again. And again, we like the Bulldogs in those key positions. DCE, I think he brings experience in big games and creativity, just like his halves partner Sam Walker. They could be a lethal combination. They are quite instinctive players, very similar. So the big thing for the Roosters, and you see it in big games, and we saw it at the back end again last year, is when the pressure was on and they needed to make high percentage plays, Sam just couldn't do it. Just couldn't do it. And he's probably the best instinctive player in the comp all half. But I don't care what anyone says, and you've got to have some high percentage rugby league in you, some team first mentality to get a repeat set of 6, kill the clock, just play short, just kind of, he just rolls the dice on many occasions, and that's okay throughout the regular season. But when you get to the finals, who's going to take you to win a premiership? And it's like Brisbane. You got Reece and Ezra, but then you've got Adam. It's.
Well, it's funny that Cronulla final.
It's like Cleary and Luai.
I don't know about the wisdom of Cherry Evans because there were games where he was missing tackles badly. There was one against the Tigers, one against Canberra, where players were just running through him. But then we get to that Cronulla final, right, which was there for the take. Cronulla were great and deserved them at the prelim. But that game, 20 minutes to go, Roosters were coming. They just needed us. That was the one time I thought, ooh, Cherry Evans would have been very handy in this moment.
Yeah, we're kind of being a little bit negative here, but it's more Just concerns. As I said, they can win a comp, and if they get it right, they can be amazing. But there are concerns, and I'm just highlighting those because we're doing the preview. But, you know, if you look at defensively too, right? Defensively as halves, they're not the best, not even close. No. They're the bottom half of the competition.
They'll be targeted.
If you're a half and you're going against the Roosters, no matter how good their team is, which is a great 1-17, you've got 2 targets on both sides. You've been having back row run inside shoulder on both of them. You've got 2 guys making decisions who aren't the best defenders as halves. You know, it's tough. He's a small body, Sammy, as well. DC, like you said, at the back end of the year, his defence wasn't great. They're gonna be getting targeted both sides of the ruck. Another thing, Dan, is they're both right side players.
Yeah.
So one of them's going to have to be playing on the left. I'm assuming it'll be DCE because, you know, Sam's the man, and I wouldn't think they'd like to bring and unsettle the environment by having a new player come in at his age like DCE is and say, well, I'm coming and take your side. That's not going to happen. So how does he adjust to that? How do they adjust to that? Combinations, how are they going? Under pressure in the big games. There's a lot riding on it, you know? And there always is with the Roosters. The pressure comes with the territory. So as much as I hope they kill it, and I think they can, like the Bulldogs, there's a lot doing there in the halves.
Give me that sheet, please.
Oh, you want it back?
Well, I just want to see before we wrap up the Roosters. So games, Cherry Evans, Reece Robson, Tommy Talau, Cody Ramsey, losses, Sandon Smith, Chad Townsend, he retired, Zach Docko Clay. So net positive with their gains and losses. I mean, it's a very formidable team.
Let's talk about the positives. You're right. Robson comes in.
Well, they got Strike. Tedesco doesn't age.
They've always had Strike. This is the thing. But what they do have now is a bit of consistency there. You know, Robson's like a friend, you know, Jake Friend to a degree. You know what I mean? Like he gets it done, and he's tough, and he makes his tackles, and he brings stability in the middle of the ruck. He gets the forwards on the advantage line. You know, Connor, where does that leave Connor? Connor's a little bit of the unpredictable, fast little number 9 that comes on, who's more of a runner. He's not really going to create too many opportunities. Well, he can, but like, you know, that strengthens them a lot, Robson. So that's a huge positive for them. And the positive is that at their best, they're a great team. They've still got Nwanga and Tedesco and
that's it.
You know, like their forward pack. You know, see Wong, and they're going to be there. There's a lot of upside.
Well, Braith, you being a tabloid host and our producers being tabloid, I know what you're all going to do if the Roosters go off the rails.
Well, like that's
Robbo is going to be under pressure, and I'm not saying sack him, I'm not saying anything like that, but I think it's going to, if it doesn't happen for the Roosters this year, might be the first time that he's actually under some real heat.
Yeah, you know, we talk about it every year with Robbo because they have had a few form slumps, but they've always found their way, which has eased the pressure off Robbo, and he's always signed long-term deals. You know, Nick loves him and put a lot of trust in him, and Robbo's done a magnificent job. You know, but the reality is, you know, because they've bought DCE and because they've got the roster that they do have, you would argue that it is the most pressure he's been under.
Not a particularly hard draw, just going by wins and losses from last year, but they get Penrith twice, Brisbane twice, Melbourne twice. They get their 2 buys before Origin this year. Last year they had no buys pre-Origin, so that's a big plus. Right, Parramatta, another team people are very high on. One of those teams that we look at because they finished fast the year before, and they won. They had some big wins. They beat Brisbane. They thumped the Roosters. I called that game. I remember that. There was another win of high. Oh, the Warriors away. In the last 7 games, they've knocked off all final teams. Brisbane, Warriors, Roosters. That's what's got people excited. Moses and Pezzett is now the combination. It's a pretty solid-looking team. I'm not sure the hype, though, is justified.
Yeah, okay, and that's a fair call. Well, that's a fair call. I think what got everyone excited is that the improvement and the way they played, you know, because they were in a bit of a dark place there for a while. What was their identity? What sort of style do they play? To start the season last year, if you remember, they were poor and the pressure was on Rolls after 2 or 3 weeks.
0-4 they started.
Yeah, so what's got everyone excited is you can see it unfolding, the influence of Jason Rolls. You know, that they have an identity. You know, their defence improved out of sight as the season went on, but their attack evolved. You know, they threw the ball around. They weren't afraid to play footy, and you know, Moses, drifting across field, and they just played a style that was enjoyable to watch, and you could see a huge improvement in them. They're bouncing around. Even all reports out of them in the pre-season. You know, Rolls I've got a huge rap on him, and I think that's why there's a lot of excitement. You know, we don't know what's going to happen, but if they do continue on the trajectory that they were last year, it means that they probably will be in the 8 or, you know, on the edge of it.
Well, it feels like it all depends on Moses' availability.
Yeah.
He's missed 27 of the last 48 games. Their record when he plays is about 50% in those 2 years, and it's 25% when he's out. So I'm interested in the Moses-Jonah combo.
Yeah.
So how does this work? Does Jonah run the show and sort of Moses freewheels? You know, is Jonah's job kick the corners, steady the ship? I mean, Moses, it's worked with Cleary in Origin when Moses has sort of played that 5'8" role.
Yeah, well, I think that the good thing is that they, you know, there's a bit of versatility there, but I think that Moses runs a team. You know? I think Jonah would be more you'd think to play a bit of 5'8". Jonah's got a great kicking game, so he takes a bit of pressure off him. Then, you know, Mitch has got the best kicking game in the comp as a 7. So, you know, but it's still good to have 2 kickers that are very elite. Mitch's strength is his running game, you know, so he can take the line on, but if he gets tackled, he knows he's got Jonah off the back of that. You know, Jonah's more a 7 than a 6, but they're both big bodies too. Like Jonah's 6'2", you know, like he's still got to fill out. Is
he really that?
Yeah, he's tall. Jonah's tall. Like so, they're both tall. They're both quite big and great footwork and kicking game finesse, but they've also got the skill and, you know, there's a bit of a presence about them both. I mean, obviously Moses is you know, Jonah's a kid. He's making his way. He's only going to get better, but I think it's going to be a really good combination. But Moses is the man. That's full stop, you know. And I think that Jonah will play second fiddle, but he's happy to do so, and he can still have a huge impact.
I mean, there's no doubt Moses runs the team. I didn't mean to.
But you mean on the ball more?
First receiver, and
I think they'll
like Jamal Fogarty style is what I was thinking.
You'll see that. You know, they've both got great skill level, passing and left to right, right to left. I think they'll mix it up. I think they'll swing left to right, and I don't think they'll be just stuck on an edge. And that's what you want. That's what I would want in a team. It'd be unpredictable.
Here's a question. You don't have to get an answer because you've got to think about this. Is Moses to Parramatta, is Moses the most important player to his team? So you think Turbo, Manly. Turbo, Manly. Obviously, when he's out, they're Gonski. Cleary they've got so much class around Cleary that they can win games without him. Yeah. Moses might be pretty close. He and Turbo might be 1 and 2. There's probably.
I'd even have Moses ahead of that now.
Yeah.
Because of the form of Mitch and the level that he's got to over the last few years, I'd have him ahead of that. And that's the challenge, right? Because if you want to win, you can't win comps that way. Yeah. Not in the modern day. You know, I think Joey was pretty good back in the day with the Knights, but even then, the players that were around him were...
Ben Kennedy was all right.
You know, there's a lot. Bedsy, you know, the list goes on. So that's not really a good comparison. But, you know, we've seen it with Hayne, and we've talked about on 360s throughout the year. You know, these guys that have these runs, you know, as individuals more so than the team, it doesn't win your comp. So that's what the challenge would be there at Parramatta, is that if he's out or if he's not man of the match, they still win. Yeah. You know, that's their challenge, because that's what you need to win a comp.
All right, last team we'll do is Dragons. Are you doing any more of these pods?
Don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I am.
You are? Okay, well, you can look forward to the Knights and the Titans and there's a few of the others, because we're about to run out of time.
You'll be back too. You'll be back. This
Am I? You know I saw a roster. This is my last day.
No, it's not stopping, mate.
2025, 8 and 16. I didn't realise how bad their record was, actually, until I started going through the research. 15th, haven't made the finals in 7 years, the Red V. They're a funny team. They only had 8 wins, and they had funny weird, because they knocked off Melbourne, They beat Brisbane at Suncorp.
Can I just,
they
before you
beat
go any
Canberra,
further,
and they beat Cronulla.
when we're doing, you've got every team in the comp here.
Well,
we're previewing 4 or 5 teams, and they're all at the bottom of this list. So
Braith,
next time, have it at the top.
I have documented evidence. Firstly, I'm not your butler. And did you not see me switching the order around depending on...
Yeah.
See, I listen to orders. I listen to orders, and when the producers say we're going to do this in the order
Here they are, second last.
Brisbane, Bulldogs, Roosters, Eels, Dragons, I went and reshuffled the order.
Oh, I appreciate your effort. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to where you were. Dragons. Sorry, mate.
That was sincere, the way you said that.
No, I do. I appreciate it.
Atkinson is the big gain, and Josh Kerr for the Dragons. Losses to Bellin, your man Lockie, Dave Clemmer, Corey Allen, Cody Ramsey, Sione Finau. So Atkinson, Flanagan, I gather will be 6 and 7. King Tongia is there as well. King Tongia did some nice things. I mean, there's some defensive deficiencies there, but he's got something. They get back players like the Couchmans, Dylan Egan, Hamish Stewart. There's a bit of talent there, Braith, but there's a bit of a slog about this team.
What I love about the Dragons in their season last year was that for the roster they had and the position they were in, a lot of, they fought hard and they fought for each other, which means that they're a team that play for each other. For the majority of the season they did that. They had a tough patch there, but that's ideally what you're looking for, right? They've got young kids that are getting better and better, in the forwards, and they got a team that could have won more games last year. There's probably a question mark whether they could or they couldn't, but they win a lot of games.
They blew 4 games when they were 10 ahead.
There you go.
So 9 times they led by 10. They only won 5 of them. Lost to South by 1, lost to the Eels by 1, lost to the Warriors by 1, lost to the Dogs on that Lockie Galvin pass by 2. Now, coulda, woulda, shoulda, but they're never out of these games. 12 of their 24. Half their games were decided by 6 or less. That's Shane Flanagan football. Yeah. Tight, tough, in the fight. So I don't think they'll be anywhere near the spoon.
Let's be honest, all right? And let's just go there because we went there with the Roosters and the Bulldogs. We've got Atkinson, who has been brought to the club to play 7 with Kyle at 6. Now, again, first month or 2 of the season, and all eyes will be on that combination. Yeah. There'll be nowhere else. We all know that. We're lying to ourselves if we think otherwise.
Well, especially the first game, Vegas, right, against the Dogs. So all eyes on that, and then there'll be nothing to talk about for 3 days.
That's right. So is Atkinson a 7? Can he run a first-grade rugby league team? Can he run a football club as a new signing in a position that he's not really accustomed to? He's more a 6, I believe, right? So then you've got Kyle, who's next to him, and we all know the speculation and the eyes all over that, whether you like it or not, is going to be there as well. So there's no time to not deliver, So I know we had Mick on here last week, right? And I can tell you now, Mick's he said they're flying, right? And that's great. But the reality is, Dan.
Hang on, sorry. Can I just marinate in that? Just let me drink that in. Let me drink that in just for a moment.
I'll tell you why, Dan. Because I've played in premiership winning teams and I've played in wooden spoons and everything in between. And if you ask me at the end of pre-season how I'm going, and you ask every other rugby league player, they'll say, I reckon we can make...
Never been fitter.
Well, we can make the top 4. Most think they can win the comp. The reality is you do not know until the bright lights hit, the pressure's on, you've got 2 months of footy, you're playing competition, NRL. Do the combinations work under fatigue? Do they work when you're behind by 12, you get a bad... This is what we're going to see from an inexperienced halves combination who have a hell of a lot of pressure on them. So, for the Dragons' sake, I hope it works. You've got King Tongia. King Tongia, I think, can be one of the best 6s in the comp. It's his defence. I'm sure they would have worked it on all pre-season. But, you're going to leave King Tongia, he can score points. He can create opportunities. Where does he land in this situation? How long do they wait? Again, Mick said they're going to be patient, and I love the trust that Flano's putting in these 2. He's going to give them time. How much time will he give them if they lose the first 3 games?
Well, the first 2, Dogs, won't be easy. Melbourne.
Okay,
they've got a funny record against Melbourne, but funny ha-ha. Yeah. They've actually got a good record the last couple of years, but they're likely 0-2.
Okay. What if they're 1 from 5? Are they keeping the halves the same combination? This is the thing, right? You just don't know. And then you can say you're going to be loyal. You can say you're going to stick by your players and they've gained trust throughout the pre-season. But I'm telling you, we see it every year.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you know what.
They only scored 20 points a game last year, 14th in attack, so it is a problem. Wow. I mean, you played rugby. I didn't realise you played cricket as well because you just danced down the track and hit Anasta over the
No, I love Mick, and you know what? Mick says they're going great, and I think they're going to, because as I said, they've got the ingredients there with how good they went, the roster they had, and the pressure they were under last year. They will get better this year. It's just, there's like the other sides. It's the halves. Will they work? Will they not?
These are now. You talk about preparation. I have not prepared for these, so
these will be good.
I think
these will be good.
I'm just seeing a lot of hashtag Braith on here, which means the stitch-up's coming, and I have nothing to do with this. Can you explain the T-shirt ban at your local gym? Yeah, no, I've covered that.
What?
Mexican hairless. Oh, you're a Mexican. Yeah, you do love a nads. What's the Veet? Nads.
Oh, hair removal.
Hair removal.
I've got hair, Dan.
Not. That's listen. Here's another one.
You got a hairy chest there.
Braith, yeah, but I look like Mr. Burns. Braith, you're looking fit. If you had to play an NRL game tomorrow, how would you go?
Shit house. Terrible. I'm fit. I wouldn't last. I mean, I'd last, but I can't accelerate. I'd tear a hamstring. I've no fast twitch at all. I don't do any sprints or anything. Change of direction, my body would go on me.
If I could guarantee you'll have a Tony Carroll bodyguard, so you don't have to make a tackle, and all you have to do is play in a dinner suit.
I'll be fit enough.
Like Tom Brady at the end of his career.
Yeah, if you could do that. If you can play in a dinner, but you can't in our game. There's no dinner suits.
Braith, this is a Doggies fan, Curtis. Do you remember your hardest pre-season? Which coach was the toughest in pre-season?
Well, when I moved in, it was Billy Johnson.
Oh, yes.
But back at the Dogs, which he was freak, ruthless. Yeah. And then Stephen Folkes. Like Folkesy, Scotty as well. But Folkesy was, God rest his soul, one of the fittest humans you've ever met. But with the Bulldogs, we'd do triathlons, biathlons. We'd write 80 to 100 Ks. We'd do everything. Like it was a competition too. And you needed to buy bikes and swim for kilometres, run, and honestly, you were so fit by the end of the pre-season. It was incredible, but the work ethic, it was phenomenal, but definitely the Bulldogs by a fair margin.
I forgot about Billy Johnson.
Yeah, Billy Johnson.
Would sports science allow...
No.
Oh, okay, that answers that.
There's no way. We were vomiting in buckets. Like, they wanted to break you. I remember the first... Yeah, Buzz wouldn't like that.
Army camps.
I remember the first session I walked into the Bulldogs. I was from South, and I was, you talk about the hair removal, but I rocked up there, this skinny little South pretty boy, whatever, and they wanted to set the tone, the Dogs, and knock that shit straight out of me. I was on the rower, and Gary Carden, I was vomiting just constantly while doing the rower, and he just had to finish. And what they wanted to gain out of that is that if you walked away, a lot of guys wouldn't come back. And if you didn't come back, you weren't a Bulldog.
Yeah.
So they would be testing you, but they were ruthless, the Dogs. Like it was, but then they were the best club to be a part of. Like they really were, but it was full on.
I want to ask you, I don't think we've got time today, about the 2000. I'm fascinated by the 2002 season.
Oh.
I know it ended badly, but just the way it all went down. Someone should
cap?
the salary cap. Yeah, not the 04, the salary cap year.
Yeah.
That was a Friday night that we all found out in the media that the Herald was sitting on something. When did you know that the shit was about to hit the fan?
They didn't tell me because it was around me and my contract. They had the Oasis project, and I was going to be an ambassador for Oasis. And I'm injured, so I'm not playing the game. And they didn't give me a heads up. And I'm sitting in the crowd watching the game. And
this is against Parramatta at the horrible showground.
Yes, at the showground. And I'm seeing this photographer snapping me, and I'm like, he's unusually staying on me the whole game. And I'm just in the crowd, and I'm thinking...
He wasn't even from the Daily Mail.
The next day it was front page, and here's my head. It was so good, Dan. Just part of.
But honestly, what happened? Okay, so that's really interesting. You didn't know that was coming.
They didn't tell me. They knew. The Dogs knew.
Because I did a Saturday morning show at the time, producing it, So, and they're telling me, Dan, you've got to be ready because the Herald's going to have a bombshell about the Bulldogs. And we're going, bombshell?
No players knew, though.
Yeah. So you all wake up Saturday morning.
Front
that would have
page.
been a recovery session.
Yeah, front page.
What were the next few days like?
I'm trying to get information. All of us are trying to get information. We knew nothing.
Wow.
We knew nothing. So it was terrible. Terrible. Thanks for bringing it up.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I because it was, you'd won 15 in a row or
17.
something. 17 in a row.
Record.
And you were blasting
if
teams.
Bulldogs
away.
fans would remember the kick from El Masri and Joey doing these ones.
Yeah.
That was on the run. Like on that run of wins.
That was on the run. But that was a rare one because you were flogging teams.
We were.
46-28 type games. It was like, defence was optional at times. But in saying that, if 02 doesn't happen,
That's right.
04 doesn't happen.
That's right. So you take the good with the bad, Dan.
Yeah. No, there should be a documentary made about the whole thing. I don't think you'll be part of it, but I don't think you'll want to be part of it. But
who's playing me if there's a doco? Or actually, if there's a film.
Mate,
if there's a film.
Can you just leave the vanity?
Because I'd like to know this one.
You ever had an acting bug?
No. No way in the world.
Clooney slicks his hair back now, and I mean he's a bit old now.
Yeah. Grey, the greys. Anyway,
Okay.
so I shouldn't have asked that.
Interesting. There you go.
Got distracted.
All the hashtag Braith people.
Yeah.
Here's one you like because it's not about you. Who would you pick, Payne Haas or Reece Walsh?
Oh.
You can only pick one. New team. So Perth Bears.
Oh, Payne Haas.
Okay.
If you're trying to build a team that has no roster and a lack of depth, there's no point having a Reece if you don't have an engine room. You need the engine room to provide space for Reece. So you got to go Payne because he's an absolute freak.
There are 18 coaches, or 18 coaches might pick Payne Haas. 18 people that run clubs, I reckon, would pick Reece Walsh.
Yeah, listen.
He fills seats.
I understand. I'm looking at,
and he brings the talent as well.
I agree with you, and I'd take him. Like
Yeah.
I'm just going
But
off
you're building a football team.
my football mind and the club, and like I'd buy Reece a few years later.
Now this comes from Mason.Will. I don't think so. I don't think it's Willie.
I don't think so.
I don't think it's Willie. How is Willie? Is he acting?
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but
Okay.
it's good.
It's doing the rounds on social media. Which player will have a breakout season this year? Which player will have a breakout season this year?
Breakout season.
Now, this is why we like to prepare for these things, so we can have something prepared.
Breakout season.
Let's see. Can I? Okay, while you think about that,
Yeah.
I'm going to make a prediction, Braith.
Because there's a lot of great players. I'm trying to look for one that's maybe a little bit understated.
We didn't preview this team. I think the Dolphins are going to have an outstanding season.
Why?
Gilbert is back. Have you seen the players coming back? Plath, the glue.
Yeah. Gilbert. I'm missing him for a long time.
Flegler, I'm sort of putting an asterisk. Apparently he's going to be back for round 1. But you just want to wait and see with Flegler before we're locked in on
They had some players out, didn't they?
Marshall King is injured, so that's a bummer. But Katoa should only get... Points are not a problem, right?
Yeah.
They got Cobbo. You got the hammer. You got a pretty good front row with Flegler joined by Saifidi. Morgan Knowles, we don't know anything about here, but a very good player in the Super League. So I'm just saying, I think they're going to have... Because they have been knocking on the door of the 8 for the last couple of years. And they've cleared away some ageing players. Kenny Bromwich, outstanding player. Mark Nichols, Josh Kerr, Oblix Torfer, Max Mine, and Josh Kerr's a loss, but and Sean O'Sullivan gone as well. But anyway, I just think they'll good.
I think Galvin will have a big year. Whether it's at 7 or 6, I think he'll have a big year for the Dogs. But one that sort of I just caught my eye then, Farlongo, with no Pappenhausen.
I'm fascinated with how he goes.
He is electric.
Yeah.
He is fire. And, although I think Melbourne may go backwards, they'll be there, but they'll go a little backwards. He's a player that I just love to watch. And I think he'll light it up.
Lomax, if he joins Melbourne, straight to fullback?
Oh, he's not a fullback, is he? We're going down there again.
Well, every time he signs with a club, it's to play fullback.
Centres. You got to have him in the centres. Oh, no, sorry, winger. But if you don't have wingers, it's centres in my eyes. It's
Because
wingers.
you've got
winger.
Warbrick and Coates. That's
That's
one
what I'm
team
saying.
that doesn't need a
That's
winger.
what I'm saying. So if it's not them, you could have him over. Like Warbrick, you know, he played some really good games when he came back, and then he had a couple of moments. So there's a question mark over that. Why are you laughing? I can see you laughing.
It's just these questions. Your fans are sick.
They're all
Justin, hang on. This might be your
Business
Justin
partner.
P. Is that your? Is that no? Your
Cainsy.
your partner, your work partner. Is it true silk sheets can spice it up? Where are they getting these? Where have you said something about? Have you promoted silk sheets on Insta?
No, I haven't.
Are you
I
an
haven't.
influencer?
No, I'm not at all.
You go down to the Australian Open. That's influencer central now.
No. I'm in rugby league mode now.
Good.
I'm in the zone. Silk sheets, yeah, I think they do, you know. Yeah.
All right, that's it. That was fun, Braith.
Got to mix it up there.
That was fun. We're done. Apparently, we're back again sometime soon. Fletch and Hindy next week. Well, if you thought this was undisciplined, this was an army camp compared to what you're going to get next week. But thanks for watching. What's it called? The Kayo Sports NRL Podcast. See you soon.
You got it.